Hi guys, thanks for taking the class. I want to get started really fast and I want to get you guys up and running as soon as possible, so I'm not going to waste a bunch of time. Now, when you open up Illustrator, you're going to see this window, most likely. If it's a little bit different, don't worry about it because there's different ways to lay it out, but I believe in most situations it's going to look like this. Now, there's a ton of different functionality with Illustrator, and you don't need to worry about any of that right now. We're going to simplify Illustrator into its core component right now. Now, over here you have your tools, okay? Now, what I usually do is I'll click here, and everything that I do on here is just what I do, okay? You guys can go ahead and modify Illustrator however you want. So over here with the tools, what I'll typically do is I'll click right here, and that'll give you, instead of like a big long line of tools, I'll get 2 rows of tools, okay? And I'll typically grab this at the top, click at the top, and just drag it in, and now I've got my little toolbar, okay? Over on this side, and let me note here that if you've taken my Photoshop class, this is very similar. Over here, you've got a bunch of different panels, and we'll get into some of these. You don't need to learn everything. You just need to learn the most important parts here, okay? Here is the Layers panel. So I'm going to click on that, and I'm going to drag that in, and I'm going to make this bigger like this. And now I'm going to open up a logo file, okay? So just to give you an idea, this is going to just show you what a vector file at its very basic form looks like. So let's go to File, Open, and I'm going to, you'll notice here in my files that they are either .ai files or .eps files. Those are going to be the 2 main vector files that you work with, okay? So if somebody sends you a logo, you want them to send you an AI file or an EPS file. Possibly a PDF file, but I don't recommend those, okay? So, these files can have full multi-layered everything, vector files inside of them. So I'm going to open up just the Starbucks coffee logo. So let's open that. I'm going to delete this part. I just downloaded this off Google. You can do Google vector logos or vector Starbucks logo, and you'll find this guy. I'm going to hit Control plus to zoom in, plus, and I'll hit minus to go back, minus. In order to move this around, the artboard around, which is this white area, I'm going to hit the space bar, and this little hand will come up, and I can move it like that. And I'm going to click on this logo. So let's take a look. I have this, the selection tool. If you don't have this tool selected, just hit V, and that'll come there. Let's put it there, V, and there we go. Now let's look at this guy and what it's made of. I'm going to click on it, and you will see that we have this box called a bounding box, which you can use to make the logo larger or smaller, or you can do all sorts of transformations. But the most important thing I want you to notice is all of these dots. Okay? We have blue dots and blue lines. And this logo is a combination of dots and curves and lines. Dots and curves, basically. Okay? So let's go in a little bit closer. Plus, space bar. And let's click on it again. Dots. Now, let's see here. Okay, we'll just leave it at that for now. This is the main thing that I want you to see from this class. This is what creates a vector file, is a series of anchor points and curves. And we're going to get into increasingly more complicated vector files as we go through this class. But that's the most important thing to realize. Illustrator is not a program for pictures. It's not a program for what's called raster files. And raster files are images that are created by a series of pixels put together, like you'll find in a picture, or like you'll find in an image from a movie or whatever. Vector files are like logos and cartoons and are created this way. And one of the big advantages, aside from the fact that, this is really the only way to create these kinds of complex files is you can also take this file and make it as small or as large as you want to. So when you're dealing with any sort of print documents or whatever, you want to have these vector files in there so that you can resize them to whatever you want. You can take this logo and put it on a giant billboard, or you can put it on a little cup or whatever. So that's just a very quick introduction to EPS and AI files and vector files, and I'm going to start out with the more basics in the next class. So thank you, and we'll see you there.